If you're a brand about to buy another analytics tool to replace Google Analytics, I ask you to stop and think, how can they compete with Google Analytics in the long term? Let me explain more. Google Analytics had a bit of a bumpy start back in 2022-23 when people were trying to shift over from the previous version, Universal Analytics. And that's because there were some teething issues and bugs and maybe the product wasn't quite ready. But over the last 18 months, they have continued to work towards a solid product roadmap and are delivering exciting new features every month, which are building on an extremely solid foundation. So for example, this quarter, they've just launched a new benchmarking tool, giving much more granular insights based on your industry sector. And I know in the works, they have an obvious feature, which is chat AI, so the ability to ask Google Analytics questions and even generate reports for you. And we can bet based on Google's Gemini AI experience that this is going to be an extremely slick product. So all of the other tools out there, and we've seen tools like Triple Whale and Polar Analytics going to market saying, hey, we're an easier to use, more comprehensive version of Google Analytics. They're going to struggle to compete with that product roadmap in the long term. They don't have Google's backing, they don't have Google's access to AI, but also they don't have all of the tight integrations with the Google marketing platform, with Google Ads that Google Analytics benefits from. So before you make the switch to a tool that looks good in the short term, I really think you need to consider in the long term, are you backing the right horse? Because I think Google has a solid track record of products that it continues to invest in, of getting it there and maintaining the quality over the long term. And I personally think that's the right horse to back here. As a D2C brand, I think you need to have a daily dashboard to guide your business. Now, I'm a big fan of Google Analytics, and I believe that actually that's the single place where you can probably get all the metrics you need on a day-by-day basis to guide your operations. So the three ways I think you can use Google Analytics to better integrate into your daily process. So the first thing is just setting up a custom dashboard that is right for you. There are various standard reports that come out of Google Analytics, but the reality is you have some specific metrics depending on your role, which are relevant for you. I mean, it's probably things like overall revenue. It's probably also the sort of channel mix, campaigns, maybe particular campaigns have led to high number of conversions. And it may also be something around the product support. But I'm not going to define that for you, but I do think it's important that you have a custom dashboard that fits exactly what you need to see on a daily basis and no other distractions. What I think that the antithesis of that is actually trying to sort of trawl through a number of reports each day and see if you find insight. That's rarely going to be a good way of actioning that data. So the second thing, once you've set up a custom dashboard, is making one of the simplest, best features of Google Analytics is email alerts. So be able to just schedule a daily email with that report to your inbox. And I think that immediately solves one of the basic problems, which is you remember to log into the tool. If it all comes to you in your inbox every morning, I think then you've immediately got that insight straight away. And then the third thing is setting up alerts. So Google Analytics allows you to say, right, alert me when something went over a certain threshold. So you might want to get alerted when there's a certain spike in traffic or there's a particularly high bounce rate. And these can be ways of just checking that there's not something broken on the site at a very basic level. So just like health and hygiene metrics. But they might also be alerts around a particular marketing tactics you launched for taking off. Basically, pulling you back to dive in to more detail what happened. So just to recap, the way you can really use this data much better in your data operations is to, one, set up a custom dashboard in Google Analytics, two, set up a regular email report so that dashboard or those reports appear in your email inbox. And the third thing is set up alerts so if something abnormal happens, you can go in and check why.